Hey everyone, welcome to the Acrylic Asylum. I'm Mike Ferris, and in this painting lesson I'm going to show you how I do Mando's sidekick here step by step. So stay tuned to the end so you don't miss any lesson details, and take a look at the description box below for the colors and materials. So to start off with, I have two papers taped seam to seam on the back, and they're cut to my size of my canvas, which is an 11 by 14 inch pre-stretched. And to draw out my image I used 1-inch squares. So now I've taken my stylus and wax transfer paper, and I did put a short video link in the description box, so take a look at that if you need some information on transferring images to your canvas. So now on my palette I have over here some raw umber, some burnt umber, this is cad yellow, ultramarine blue, and of course titanium white. So I'm going to start with this ultramarine blue and cad yellow here, and I'm just going to make this basic green color and just start applying this to the background. Now without cleaning my brush, just picking up more of that blue, and this makes a darker value, and with that I'll just scratch that in here and there. Okay, no cleaning yet, and I just taken titanium white and some yellow, and just with this brighter stuff I'm going to put that here and there. So with this background you can do kind of anything you want, just kind of mix it up a little bit. I'm taking some some burnt umber now, and now some raw umber together. And I want to just make this a little bit of a darker value, and I'll just put it here and there. And now some titanium white, and without cleaning, this will just be some more background stuff, and I'll fill that in right here with this value. Okay, and now without cleaning, just a little bit more white, and I want to change that value to this area right here and just fill that in. Okay, now taking with a clean brush now, this blue and quite a bit of that yellow, heaping it up in there, and also with that some white. And to this color I want to put some phthalo green into that now and change the value, and as you can see it's more vibrant, and you can see the difference between the two values like that, and I like to put them right next to each other just to see that change there. And so now with this I'm just going to block in for the face, and I'm not worried about covering up all my lines there because I'll be able to see right through this first coat. Okay, and no cleaning necessary, and I'm just going to pick up more ultramarine blue and now some phthalo green to that, and with this value now I'm going to go into the shadow areas. Okay, now with a clean brush, now I have on my palette some of this cad orange, and now I've got phthalo blue and primary red. So with some of this cad orange now, I want to take just a scoop of this little bit of phthalo blue there, and most of that color off my brush, and now I want to take white to that, and I want this bright dull orange color here, and this will be what I block in the ears with. And no cleaning, and just a little tiny bit of this color of that little teeny bit of phthalo blue and cad orange, no titanium white. And with this darker value I want to hit this spot and along the ear as well right here. Okay, and now for some more of the ear I'm going to take this primary red and some of this cad orange, and I'm going to fill in some spots as well with that. Okay, and now putting more phthalo blue into that orange mixture there. And this is going to be, of course, a darker value with no titanium white. And with this, I want to fill in this side of the ear with this color and block in a little bit. And now titanium white for the middle part there, I added a little bit there. And I'm going to leave this little white spot there for something else. And now I'm just going to dust these over here. I kind of want these to blend together, and so I'm just using light pressure on my brush and just letting those dust together a little bit. Okay, and now white to that orange color that we made earlier, that dull orange stuff. And now around that orange-red color mixture that we made, and putting that around the ear as well right here. Okay, and no cleaning again, and more titanium white, and some of that value right here. Okay, going from my number 18 flat now to my number 10 flat brush that I'm using now with ultramarine blue, some of this cad yellow, and some of this titanium white to really lighten it up, and now just a touch of this phthalo green to really make it vibrant. And not that much, just a little bit. And I just want to go back in the head now and do a second layer. Okay, no cleaning yet, and ultramarine blue again, and cad yellow, more blue now. And I want this darker shadow color, and with this I'm going to go around the nose, and against that lighter color it's going to make the nose pop out and give it the definition. So with that same shadow color, I want to hit the mouth now, and I'm going to mess with that mouth quite a bit to bring out some details and dimension. And also down on the chin and cheek area, there's going to be a shadow being cast by the cloak that he's wearing, so there's going to be a little bit of a darker value here down below in some areas here. Okay, now titanium white to brighten this color up. And with this lighter value, I want to go in there and put it here and there, but not everywhere, of course, as my motto goes. And in this way, let's start to build the dimension of the face by putting some of these highlights in. So notice right here on this section of the mouth here, I'm not taking this light color all the way up to the nose because that nose does have a shadow being cast under it. And so I don't want to kill the dimension on the nose by putting the highlight too much on the mouth there and bringing it too far up. So just going to go here and there, like I said, and just not cover everything up and play these colors in. So now with the corner of my brush, with that color still on my brush, I'm going to dance that in and start to give the indication of these little fuzzy hairs that are on his ears as well as on his head. Okay, and now going into some cad yellow and picking up some phthalo green, ultramarine blue now in there. And with that, this is just going to be a little bit of a darker value. And I want to go back into some of the shadow areas now and just apply that in some areas. Okay, now picking up some raw umber into that same mix of colors there to darken that down. And with this change of value and a little bit darker now, I'm going to go in some areas where this shadow is going to be a little bit darker than the other ones, like around the eye area here. And in some places, like I said, here and there, but not everywhere. So now with just a little bit of that color left on the brush, I'm just going to take it up here and just slightly scratch in just some indications that go back on the head there. And while I'm at it, I'm just going to scratch some of that into the ear here, but I will clean this up. But for now, I just want some of that color involved for later. So now I'm going to go into some phthalo green now and some phthalo blue this time. And now I want into that just a little bit of raw umber just to knock that down a little bit. And to that, a little titanium white. And now I want to put some cad yellow in there just to warm it up a bit. So I'm kind of looking for sort of this like reflective shadow color in a way. It's a little bit darker, as you can see, a little bit more vibrant. And so again, as the motto goes, here and there, but not everywhere, I'm going to go ahead and apply that method and put this down. So without cleaning now, titanium white to change the value of this reflective color, and in this way it will be sort of like this reflective highlight color. And again, I'm going to put that here and there. Now picking up more titanium white, and I want to make the bumps and the wrinkles pop a little bit and show some direct light hitting the edges. So just right next to this shadow color here with that, and I'm using the edge of my number 6 flat brush, and just going to take and dust that out onto each one of them. Now with the rest of that color on my brush, going to hit the nose area a little bit, and again some highlight stuff. With some ultramarine blue and some phthalo green and some cad yellow mixed up there, and with this vibrant more shadow color right here, just going to hit the head a couple times. And now with a clean brush, I'm going to take just pure titanium white, and I want this side of the head to be the brightest because this is going to be our light source that is coming from this side. And as I get to the edges here, I want to dance the corner of my brush to give these indications of these white little fuzzy hairs, and just apply some of these highlights and enforce some of the ones on the front bumps on the head. Okay, now picking up ultramarine blue and some of that cad yellow, and with no titanium white, this darker shadow, I just want to scratch some in on the nose area there and on the mouth area as well. Just a little bit of a shadow right underneath. Okay, now picking up some raw umber now and some ultramarine blue, and now on my palette I have right here some permanent black that I'm going to throw into that, and just a teeny bit of paint on my brush, and with my number 2 flat brush I'm just going to use the edge and just apply very little pressure. As you can see, the bristles are not really bending all that much, and I'm just kind of rubbing that on and blending it in, and in this way just creating some of the shadow detail for the mouth. And with that same dark color, I'm going to go in right here between his face and the cloak. And this is going to be a very dark shadow area right here. Okay, and just filling in some more spots, and then with a little bit of paint left, I'm going to go ahead and dust in some of that up here for some of its shadow that's going to be on his face a little bit. And I'm not worried about it looking too muddy right now or messy, because I'm going to come in later with this darker green, and I want to go down there and sort of blend that over this darker stuff and knock it back a little bit. And in this way, this will create a really nice shadow down there like it should look. Okay, some more of that color now, and again, just blocking in some more of this, and I did add some more permanent black, and right down deeper towards the cloak a little bit, there's going to be a darker shadow, of course. So getting more of that shadow color now, that permanent black and raw umber together. And now let's fill in the eyes with that. So with a clean brush now, taking some violet and some of this primary red, And I will put a little white into that. And so with this, I just want a teeny bit of this color on my brush, and I just kind of want to dry brush that into some of the cheek areas and above the eyes a little bit. With a clean number 6 flat brush and pure titanium white, now I'm going to go back in and reinforce some of these direct highlights and also some of this white fuzzy hair. Okay, and with permanent black now, again, just going to reinforce this very dark shadow closest to his cloak down here. Okay, and after filling in a little bit there, taking the corner of my number 2 flat, and with this dark value, going to hit the nostrils now. And now reinforcing some of these shadows here with that shadow color from earlier. Okay, let's take this burnt and raw umber together now and add a little titanium white. So I'm going to have this really light muted brown color. And so I don't want it too bright to start off with. And I want to go on the eye on the left here. And I don't want to take the color all the way to the black because I want some of it showing around it. It just really helps to complement the color and shows more dimension with the eye. So now with my number 2 flat, I just want to take this shape and just basically follow the curve of the eye itself. Okay, without cleaning now, going into burnt umber now and cad yellow. And with this mixture here, I'm just going to go in on the bottom like so and make a little indication of a shape here. So no cleaning yet, and cad orange and a little titanium white to that. And now with this value, I'm going to go in and just in a couple spots scratch that in. Okay, and without cleaning again, just a touch of this raw umber and mostly titanium white. I want this very light brown color to start with. And again, with my number 2 flat brush, I'm going to come in here and again not take it all the way to the edge to the black. I want some of it showing. And just want to come in like so and make this direct highlight, as again this light is coming from the left over here, so having a very light, bright light striking his left eye there would be ideal. Okay, and more titanium white. I want to make this a little bit brighter. So now just a little bit of that white right here, and I'm going to use my finger just to sort of blend that in just a little bit. Okay, so now I'm getting some of this raw umber and some of this, what is it? Ultramarine blue. Yes, and some white. This is going to be sort of like a Payne's gray that's very muted. And so let's make that shape right here, again with that number 2 flat brush, because this is kind of a small area. These are small little details in a way. And let's go with now some raw umber and burnt umber together. Titanium white. And with this color, let's run something down right here. Make this little shape like so. So now let's pick up some titanium white into that color now. Wipe most of it off my brush. Let's just kind of do a dry brush here. And let's scratch in a little bit of a highlight here. And let's put a little teeny little dot there. And let's pick up more white now, not a bunch. I just want some of it covered up, not all of it. And I kind of want to just dust that into that other more muted color there. So just some variations, and as you can see, all of these wonderful colors coming together really makes these eyes pop out. Really looks like light and reflections hitting them as they would in real life. And so now more titanium white. I want to make this just a little bit brighter here. So now I'm going to take just a little bit of ultramarine blue to mostly yellow and some titanium white. And this is just going to be a little bit of a added flavor to the values here. You can see it's a little bit of a greenish yellow now. It's kind of on the light side there. Now with a clean number 6 flat brush and just pure titanium white with the corner, I'm just going to dance that in here and there. And again, make these indications of these fuzzy white hairs. And while I'm at it, I'm also going to use this to reinforce some of the highlights you can see right here above the bump here. Just right on top of that shadow there, that's going to make that pop out. And again, I'm going to reinforce these highlights also. Now back to primary red and a mix of that cad orange into it, and gonna hit the ears in those spots again. Okay, now taking cad yellow and some of this ultramarine blue now. I forgot to fill in some of this background here, no problem. And it's too light, so I'm gonna add some more ultramarine blue to that, and just like that I can darken that down. So now taking cad yellow and some titanium white, I want to go in now and sort of sneak this little golden reflective color in, and that just helps to complement some of the green that's involved. Okay, a little bit heavy on the right there on that golden reflection, so with some phthalo green, ultramarine blue, a little bit of cad yellow, some white. I kind of want to knock that back just a little bit here on the bottom like so. And of course it is lighter than that shadow underneath. And so just going to dust that up by applying very little pressure as it comes up into that lighter stuff there. And with some of that shadow, I want it under the nose a little bit again. And again under the mouth right here. Okay, picking up ultramarine blue now and cad yellow, no titanium white, this darker green shadow color now. I want it underneath the mouth here. So I'm going to start building on this mouth and messing with it a little bit now. Okay, picking up more white now, and I did not clean my brush. I'm just taking the value now, and with this white, I want to knock back some of that shadow just a teeny bit. And sort of dust that down into that shadow a little bit there and have everything transition and sort of fade into one another. Okay, so now permanent black and some of this raw umber now mixed in with it. And again, I want to take my number 2 flat now, and I want to take and just apply very little pressure. And I want to reinforce this shadow and not go too crazy, and I want to be careful about how much pressure I lay down and how much paint I put on my brush, especially because this is a very small area and too much paint will render too much of a dark area, and in this way it could really lose the mouth, which can be covered up, but it would take a few coats, and then of course I'd have to draw it out again and replace everything. So it is a bit of a pain, just so you know. So try to be careful with the mouth there a little bit. I recommend a number 2 flat brush, or maybe even something smaller if you got it. So now I've got some violet and I've got some permanent black here and a little bit of this red. And so now I want to go up close now with my edge of my number 2 flat. I want to take and scratch in some of these mouth details. and I'm not worried about it. It's just more or less blocking in these values on top of what I've got. But of course, as you know, I'm going to come in there and I will settle this back, and the difference will be that this will look like it's part of his skin instead of these lines looking like there's something on his skin that shouldn't be there, like maybe he got hurt or something. But this is actually going to be part of the color in the skin and the direction of some of this texture that goes this way. So you'll see how I do that. And so now I'm going to take some titanium white, and again I'm going to go right underneath this shadow here and knock it back just a bit. And I want to keep this mouth kind of close and kind of where he's making that sucky face that little kids make when they want to lay down and they want their blanket. It's that cute little baby face. So I want to take and knock that shadow back a little bit with this white. And as you can see, I put some direct highlights there like so. That really helps bring out some more dimension and details on this mouth. Okay, now taking that light color again and going over these slash marks to settle those down. Okay, a little on the chin there. Okay, so now taking their dark shadow color with no titanium white, that's that blue and that yellow, and right in between the cheek shadow and the mouth shadow, I want to scratch just this tiny little shadow like so. I know that sounds like a really unimportant, mundane detail, but it's kind of like shopping, you know. It seems really minor at first, but the more times you do stuff like that, those little minor things really add up to be a big difference. So in the same way, this little detail stuff that I'm doing, it really makes a big difference the more times you do stuff like that. So again, that dark value now with permanent black and more raw umber mixed together. And I want to reinforce this shadow once again. Now going to my number 20 flat brush, I'm going to take some raw umber and some violet mixed together, and I'm going to block in some of the cloak with this. Okay, so now titanium white into that value, and with this I'm going to block in this side now of the cloak. And it really doesn't matter what you really use to block in with, because on top of that, as you know, we're going to put more values and more coats and whatnot. So this is just more or less to keep the values separate so that I can see the differences and I don't get lost in where I'm at with my cloak and where it's supposed to transition and fold and all that kind of stuff. So now taking this raw umber and cad yellow to that, this is going to be now the base coat, and this value is what I'll use, a little titanium white into that, to block in the lower part of the cloak. Now grabbing my number 20 Natural Round Bristle Brush. They have all these frayed out bristles on them, and I'm going to use that to tap into the colors of raw umber and some of that violet and mostly titanium white now. So with this light color now, I'm going to tap that onto this coat, and in this way this tapping is going to show this coat lint material. without cleaning, now just tapping into some more raw umber and a little bit of burnt umber. And so with this darker value now, I just kind of want to tap that and knock back some of this coat material on the lighter side and show a little bit of shadow and dimension within the cloak. So no cleaning, just going to tap into some more titanium white. And on the very edge right here, there's going to be this direct, brighter highlight that's going to be hitting it. Okay, tapping in more color now. More white, more raw umber. A little bit of that violet color. And with this highlight color again, tapping for that coat material. Okay, now I've cleaned my brush and dried it off pretty good. And so with raw umber and cad yellow and titanium white, more titanium white because this is going to be highlight again, and let's tap in now down here for those. Now back to my number 6 flat brush and just permanent black by itself, and going to redefine the coat area between where it separates from his face, and this is going to be the darkest shadow that I want to reinforce in here. Okay, and taking some of that color left on my brush and just dusting it up just a little bit now. And again, I'm going to come back with that darker green value and dust back over some of this dark black that you see here, and that's going to make for a better transition of shadow, and this black that you see now is going to help to complement that. So with that dark value again, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to define some of these shadows and scratch in some of this change in the cloak and show some of this dimension and folds that are going on. So now with a clean number 10 Natural Bristle Round brush now, a little bit smaller because I'm going to go into a smaller area. And I want to take this color from before, that violet, white, and a little raw umber now, and a little bit lighter, and just hit just the edge of the cloak here, and just some of the edges here where direct highlights are going to be hitting it. Okay, now picking up burnt umber now and some violet and some titanium white to that. And I want to reinforce this part of this cloak here that's going to be coming down as well right here. Okay, tapping in some titanium white now. And just right here, going to hit some of these highlights now on this part of it. So now taking and tapping in just a teeny bit of raw umber with mostly yellow and white now. And down here, let's make some of these golden highlights. back to my number 6 flat brush now, and with some raw umber and permanent black, just going to go in now and redefine some of the cloak shadows. So with a clean number 6 flat brush now and just titanium white, I want to hit just the very edge of this cloak here, and shows direct light hitting that, helps it pop a little bit more, and I want to hit some other edges as well. Okay, going into Cad Yellow now and some burnt umber now. And in this area of the cloak now, I just want to kind of dance that in a little bit. Okay, so grabbing some raw umber and scratching in some shadows here and there. And so now what I want to do is dust over some of these shadow areas, especially the one on the far right there. And I'm just going to take this value that's already on my brush here, and I'm just going to sort of kind of dust over the edges here and kind of fade that in to make it more natural looking so there's not such a hard line there. So now I'm going to take some Cad Yellow and a little bit of white, and just with this light yellow color here, this is going to be somewhat of a golden reflective light color that's going to be hitting the bottom of the cloak there. So a little bit more of that color, yellow and white, and just going to put that right here and in a few spots here and there. So now picking up more Cad Yellow, and with this color now, I'm going to just make again some more of this reflective sort of golden highlight stuff. Now grabbing just titanium white without cleaning and just hitting just the edge of the cloaks here and just showing direct highlight there. So now picking up Cad Yellow and Ultramarine Blue, and this time I want some of this raw umber into it just to dull it down and make it a little bit darker. So with this dark green shadow color now, I want to come in here and knock back some of this permanent black that got up on him. And this is going to really show this nice transition of a shadow happening, and less, of course, like dirt on his face. Okay, back to my number 20 round bristle brush, and I'm taking just pure titanium white now. And just here and there on the tops and the edges of this cloak, I want to hit some of these white highlights again. Okay, back to my number 6 flat brush now, and just with some of that raw and burnt umber and some of this white into it. Just going to go into the background right here real quick and just give this one more final coat right here. So now I want to clean up that ear on the left a little bit. I'm going to go back to that orange and that blue that dulls it down, and some titanium white. And back to my number 6 flat brush. And so now I want to go in here, or I'm sorry, not my number 6, my number 10. And again, you can use whatever brush you want. I'm just using larger brushes to cover bigger areas that are easier for me. And I find that I get smoother brush strokes and not as many to fix or to, you know, to brush out if I have a bigger brush in these areas. So just a little bit more white now. I'm going to take that up and sort of clean that up into there. And now I want to take just a little bit more titanium white, as you can see now at the bottom there. And I want to bring that up and apply very little pressure on my brush and just blend that up into that other orange there. And so I can even use my finger if I need to. Okay, so with a clean number 6 flat and just pure titanium white, I'm going to go in here now with this final round of these white fuzzy hairs. So just a little teeny bit of cad yellow now with that white still involved, and just want to sneak some of that golden reflective highlight in there, just a teeny little bit. Okay, and just a teeny bit of titanium white, and I'm just going to dry brush some of this on again and settle just a little bit more of those hashes down. Give it a little bit more cleaner highlight, and then I want to clean up the chin a little bit like so. And just in a couple spots. Okay, so with a script liner brush now, lots of water and permanent black, I'm going to sign this piece right here. Thank you so much everyone for tuning in, and if you found this lesson to be inspirational and very helpful, then hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and don't miss any of the lessons I'll be putting out every week. And if you have questions or comments, drop them down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. And until next time, happy painting everyone.